Okay, so game three here, and that first hand was garbage. But I was now have the not only is Sean joining us, but so is my buddy Ryan. My buddy Ryan is over there as Redeker 4906, and then we have one um plane. We like to refer to unknowns sometimes as planes. Who knows what they're gonna do? The three of us are certainly gonna battle it out. Hopefully, this guy is pretty interactive as well. Ronus, who knows? But we're gonna have a good time. So we get to go first, which is awesome. After that last game, Sean's bringing out the big guns with Winota, and Winota is a natural foil to this deck. She uh, she has very powerful tax effects in her that get tutored out rapidly with her. Um, we are going to keep this hand. The reason why we're keeping this hand is because we have a tutor. We can tutor for turn one. We have the ogre. All we need in this hand is 2 mana. We can get to 4 mana. We can Dragonstorm. So that's why we're keeping this one. We also get to go first, which means we have the most looks and maybe finding some sort of mana source, even if it's just a couple lands. Turn three, play Treasonous Ogre, cast Dragonstorm, win the game, recast Rograk from the exile, maybe pick up some other spells along the way. We also have Force of Will. This is a pretty good hand. It is a one-lander, which can be, you know, nerve-wracking for some people. My buddy Ryan over on the Aloro deck, he's playing an Aloro Stacks deck that plays a whole bunch of other effects that are incredibly troublesome for us. Things like Trinisphere, things like Ward of Bones, so that you can't play any lands because he doesn't really play a whole lot of lands in the deck. So we're up against two stacks decks with our Storm deck, and we're going to see how it goes. The odds are certainly against us this game, but Sean was a good sport and didn't play this deck in the first one, so here we go. See if we can beat the Winota. I think she's probably the best aggro deck in competitive Commander currently. Just her ability to put out those taxes pieces are just incredible. We're going to exile Bladewing. Not only is it a duel, but we might use Dak Faden here to draw some cards, and we're just going to use Jin-Gitaxias as Force of Will fodder. We're going to go get Dragonstorm, and then most of the deck is mana sources. Even though there's only, I think, like 29 land or 26 land in the deck, there's a massive amount of mana sources that are non-land, and so it's just on us to hopefully go turn two, maybe turn three. However, every single turn we do not win, it will become harder and harder for us to win. But we're all set. Let's see if we can actually pull it off. It's important to note that Sean mulliganed over there with Winota. He's down to 5 cards. So hopefully he keep a too good of a hand. It's always hard to know. And then Ryan did mulligan as well, so maybe he just kept a mediocre hand. Land tax. We only have one land, don't currently have a second one, so that might not work out too well for him. We'll find out. Hopefully we draw a land, and that way we can just steal someone else's mana. But we just need some mana source. One to get Dak Faden, and two to get to the Ogre, and then we win from there. We got turn one. Oh, great. Um, We're not going to counter this, but it is going to destroy our mana source. Um, there, it's going to be annoying, but Force of Will is going to need to counter things like Archon that we just can't win through, Trinisphere, things that are just going to prevent us from winning. He's going to be able to Stone Rain us, but it's not game breaking, and so we're just going to let that be all right. We don't have a whole bunch of counter magic, so our counter magic is going to need to really stop the kinds of spells that say we can't win. Him destroying our artifact is just going to be, well, it's just going to be what it be. Hopefully we can get Dak Faden down, draw some cards. The unfortunate thing about if we did draw cards with Dak Faden is there's not really cards we want to discard, and no one's played Mana Crypt or anything like that. And then even if they did, the Gorilla Shaman could destroy it. So, we'll see here. Oof, that was a bad draw. Another one of the payoffs of the deck is Peer into the Abyss. We're just going to get Rograk out there. There's a whole bunch of effects that sacrifice Rograk for mana, like Culling the Weak or the red one that sacrifices him for 3 mana. This is going to allow us to have those be outs for us and allow those mana sources to win us the game. But like I said, every turn we go by, it makes it harder and harder for us to win. There's no taxes videos yet or taxes pieces yet, but they're coming. They're coming. All right, so what we got here. White, white, Lotus Petal. Okay. All right, so that right there, we can't win with the Storm card when we can only play 1 spell per turn. We're countering that and crossing our fingers. Hopefully, funny enough, if Sean plays Thalia here, we can win through that if we are capable of getting 2 4 mana. Just because the Ogre is awesome. There's a Crypt. We could steal it, but like I said, the Gorilla Shaman might just destroy it once we steal it. It will tax his mana a little bit, but one of the really nice things about Winota is that it doesn't really use its mana sometimes a whole lot. Like, it uses its mana to cast Winota, and then post Winota, it doesn't really cast a whole lot of spells. So let's see if he has Winota here. Looks like he has got Winota for sure. It is going to take all of his colored mana, which is important to note. And is this our... Oh, no. So, oh, and he has a land. So we actually might get to keep our Chrome Mox, which would be huge. And I mean, it's not Thalia, but it's close. We'll see what Winota gets here. That's the clunky version of Thalia. Still pretty problematic for us. Like I said, the odds are stacked against us this game if we're able to pull it off. One of the really big things that we can find here is Toxic Deluge would be huge. However, we can't quite cast it right now anyway. So, I'm not sure what exactly we want to draw. We could draw Pyrokinesis. That would be huge. That's kind of what I'm playing in the deck currently over Blasphemous Act, just because it's instant speed. Yes, it's just pitch spell, but I mean we could pitch deck fade into it and take out his non-human, which would be really big, or just take out Winota. Taking out Winota wouldn't be work, unfortunately, because you can probably just recast her for 6. But the Achilles heel of the Winota deck is just taking out any of the creatures that are not humans, limiting the amount of humans that are in play. Winota by herself really isn't the threat. It's Winota plus non-humans. So Pyrokinesis would be an amazing draw right here. What do we get? Land. Land's okay. Land's okay. One more spell off, and we're also going to be able to steal. Oh, nope, nope. I stand corrected. We're going to cast Silas because the Glow Rider is in play, and we cannot cast Dak Faden yet. It would be nice to be able to steal the Mana Crypt, but just not happening. Silas's job is to say, "Don't attack me," which is highly relevant right now. We'll see if Ryan's maybe able to wrath the board. Fingers crossed. Although the Glow Rider I know is going to be messing him up a lot as well, as he is primarily a non-creature deck. The only creatures he plays are Eidolon Rhetoric and other hate bears that sort of are lock pieces. So a land would be great, but I don't actually expect my Chromox to live this time. Sean currently has 0 cards in hand, and so I think our Mox is not long for this world. Worldly Tutor, like I said, sometimes the final player in some of these matches can just be a sort of plane chase type of scenario. Who knows what he's getting here? Hopefully he's getting something to interact with the board. That would be great. If not, um, he might just, watch until someone wins. Sometimes that happens. Though he does, I will say the Ronus that he has is gorgeous. I loved the, I forget what they're called, but like the treasure cards from that set, the Egyptian ones, absolutely stunning border and artwork on those. Okay, so this is the big turn. What will he hit? It is possible to whiff. I think he's currently playing around 30 humans, which so there's not like a high chance that he whiffs, but it certainly is possible. Silas will at least preserve our life total with his Death Touch, making it so that none of his creatures are going to attack us unless they're indestructible. We will block with Silas, so there's some really big creatures that he can hit that have. So there's like a monk that is power and toughness equal to the number of creatures he controls, and I do expect Sean to send creatures that are indestructible at us from Winota. Silas may block one of those to preserve our life total. If the ogre is off the table in terms of casting Dragonstorm, that might be a problem. Uh, the Magistrate, don't really care about that. Silas is already in play. We've already cast Rograk. And Dragonstorm is coming from our hand. That is no problem. We're just going to ignore that guy for the time being. Does he have anything else? No. It's interesting. Does Ronus have? He went and got the 1-drop hunter that has creatures fight. Not sure how relevant that is. If it is relevant, it might mess with Sean's creatures. It might not. We'll see. Sylvan Library, solid play. However, oh, and he's out. Very well. Sean didn't destroy the Chrome Mox. I'm not sure why. Oh, okay, so he's doing it now. So online, if you're not aware, if someone concedes during their turn, it automatically sometimes goes to the next person's turn, and he meant to do it on the previous guy's turn. However, since he quit, it just jumped to my turn. We don't have a way to use the mana, so we're just gonna. Oh, Ponder. Ponder's a great draw. What we got here? Land, dragon. Beautiful. This is, in fact, everything we wanted. We want 2 lands, land number 1. Next turn, we can Ogre into Dragonstorm. Unfortunately, it will be Dragonstorm for 2 since the Magistrate is in play, and we're not going to be able to cast Rograk. So that's going to be an important consideration. It's not going to be a Dragonstorm for the win. It's going to be a Dragonstorm for advantage. And we're going to have to figure out what kind of advantage we want. A lot of times I put the Hellkite into play with haste so that I can generate a whole bunch of dragons that can then fight the creatures that Sean will generate, and we can play that sort of game. However, I would want a damage dealer, and because Sean's creatures are so small, that might be the Scourge. That way we can get multiple triggers, 2 different triggers, killing both the Gorilla Shaman and the Glow Rider. That would be powerful. We are kind of dancing on the edge of a knife here every single turn that Sean gets to swing with Winota and a non-human creature. Especially since he doesn't have to attack us and we can't block the Gorilla Shaman. So I expect him to attack Ryan, which he is, and he'll pay for it. And he'll attack me with his random 2/2. And at this point, we are just in the business of preserving our life total. If he doesn't hit, we'll block, and if he does hit, we'll block that. Magus, funny enough, doesn't matter. We have Ogre into Dragonstorm. Magus doesn't affect that. We do have one of our basics, and he's indestructible. We do have one of our basics just because Blood Moon effects are often played in different decks that Sean plays. So I do have basics in here, both a blue and a black basic. However, we're not really worried about it this time. We are simply going to get our Ogre on. One thing I didn't consider is that if I did attack with Silas and he didn't block, I might be able to cast the Chromox. But that is neither here nor there. Okay, so and a giant killer. Another thing to consider here too is if we do Treasonous Ogre, which we're gonna do it. Sean only has 1 card in hand, and he only has 1 creature that is not a human to trigger Winota. So we're gonna kill the gorilla, and pray. That's that's our plan. Uh, if we can survive, I think, a single turn and not have him trigger Winota, which there's not a whole lot of creatures in the deck. Like I know there's Ragavan. We're going super low here. However, we're getting the Hellkite and we're getting the Scourge. They can kill. Now, Giant Killer can tap down, so we really want to take out the Gorilla Shaman with the Scourge. So we'll get that one first. Deal that one damage. Take away his ability to trigger Winota. And then we'll take out the Giant Killer, which will tap us down, which I think would kill us if he lives. And we'll get the Hellkite. We could get Glorybringer here and kill Winota. However, it would tap itself down, and I think we would die on the swing anyway. So what we really need is we need this is our big play essentially for the game, and if the Hellkite and the Scourge can live for a single round, just one round, we'll be able to take over this game and just nuke his entire board. It's a risky play. We'll see if it works out for us, but I think it's the best play that we have. One round, and then I know the Magus is also affecting Ryan over there, which is good for us. That'll probably be one of the last creatures we kill if we have our choice. For now, we have blockers, so he can't currently kill us. Our 6/6 can block the 4/4, which is very relevant. And then next turn, we'll attack. You can also then kill the Magus, play Dak Faden, and be off to the races here. But I wouldn't really want to take the Mana Crypt. Might just draw, honestly, if we survive. See if Ryan has anything for us. Looks like he's hurting pretty bad. He only has white mana. However, that propaganda is doing a pretty good job protecting him. See what Sean has for us. I think we're a pretty good position. He doesn't have any creatures that aren't humans, which means he can't trigger Winota currently. I mean, I honestly like it. I honestly like our position right now. We are on a low life total, but once we start spawning dragons with the Hellkite, we'll be able to take over this game. So what Sean got? Oh, that's bad. Oh, that's bad. So he had to have something with haste. I was thinking more like Ragavan. This new land, I think, has really helped Winota to be even more powerful. Sokazan spawning 2 hasted non-human creatures. That was one hell. I don't know if he had it. He probably didn't have it in hand, otherwise he would have played it earlier. But that was one hell of a draw, Sean. All right, well, we went from liking my position quite a bit here to I think we just lose here. We'll see how much he's swinging at with pretty much everything, which means there's a certain amount that we just have to block. Oh, nope. So we could block his stuff and he could kill me, but maybe he doesn't want to lose his stuff and then have to fight Ryan. We'll see. The Taxus pieces are working on Ryan as well as me. Like I said, I'm going to try to have those guys in the audio in the future. However, I'm traveling. I've been traveling for quite some time, and I'm on hotel internet, and so at least for the moment, this is where we're at. This is what we got. And so we have to chump block. This is one of the ways the deck snowballs. There's a few creatures in our current build of Winota that spawn non-human creatures. This Geist spawns several non-humans. And then it looks like he even got a creature to take out one of our own, which is really bad. I'm not even sure what we can draw at this point. Maybe Pyrokinesis is a draw. Toxic Deluge is kind of a draw. If we Toxic for, I don't know how low we're going here. I think Pyrokinesis might be your best bet. Otherwise, we're just dead. We're probably just dead no matter what here. He has flyers, and think I think he's got it here. We'll see what we draw. Nope, nothing. Can't even cast it. Can't even cast Rugrak because of the Magistrate. He's got us. Oh, well, hey, it happens. It happens. It was well played by Sean. And we'll take out one of his non-humans. In this attack, he'll block with his Spirit Token to not give us the Monarch. Pretty sure he'll catch it. Yeah, see, there it is. And we are dead in the water. And yeah, we can't cast anything. The Taxes deck has taken its tax. Retribution after playing the Tatyova. If you do have some friends who are playing more of a Grixis or a blue-black combo deck, the natural foil to that deck is Winota. The deck's just absolutely insane, and it plays all of the best hate pieces. Not only just the Taxes pieces, but it also gets to play Magus and also hit it with Winota. So good. So good. Looks like Ryan's gonna maybe destroy something on his turn, and the propaganda is gonna keep him alive a little bit, but he's definitely running out of time, and we are out of time. We'll make him kill us, but that Sokazan, gosh, that was one hell of a top deck right there. Such a good card. All of the lands really that are now spell lands, they sidestep a lot of the Taxes effects. They also just are really powerful and hard to interact with. Besiju especially. That deck or that card is changing the way people construct their decks, and that whole cycle. I expect more of them in the future, to be honest. We'll see how much he sends. I'm guessing he's gonna send the Geist at Ryan. Then he's gonna send all of the things that will trigger at me. We'll see what happens. Now that he has multiple triggers off Winota, it is certainly possible that he could hit enough damage in this turn to take out Ryan. We shall see. The first hit is Thalia, another tax effect, which means that it's going to be even harder for Ryan to do anything. Another thing, too, that's very interesting about this effect is that they sidestep Propaganda or Moat if you were playing Winota. Aura Touch Mage, that's pretty much game. Although the Propaganda is going to be a problem. I'm not sure if Sean has a way around it or not, but the Aura Touched Mage plus Breath of Fury is infinite combat steps. So he has infinite combat steps. However, the propaganda might slow him down. He does have double strike though, and the monk is hitting for 24. So if he can get one more hit in with the monk, then that's game. Ryan will take. Oh, and Ryan's done. Stacks is the stacks and taxes have added up. All right, well, we'll see you in the next game. Alrighty, back here for round number 4. Uh, Sean had to get going. We're all getting a little bit older. Life happens. So I just joined a CEDH pod here, and it looks like, okay. I think we're going to be able to lean in on this dockside. Once again, we're staring down a lot of blue. We got Timna and Crom doubled up over there. I expect both of them to be on Adnaz. And then Kenrith, that could be a lot of things. I do expect them to be a combo deck, but I think we can keep this expecting Dockside Extortionist to do some work for us. We have a tutor to go get Dragonstorm, and we unfortunately have a dead card in Bladewing, so we could mulligan because it's kind of like the mulligan already. But between the tutor and the Dockside, I think this is reasonable. I also don't expect the first person to try to go off to win. There's just a lot of interaction in Timnacrom Adnaz, and I fully expect them to be stopping each other as well as me. So we're just going to be taking it slow. We've got turn 2, Dockside, if people go nuts. If they don't, we have Cyclonic Rift. Ooh, and a Breach. Breach is a great draw. That means that we can potentially Witch Claw for Brain Freeze and see if we can spike LED or Pedal in the yard. Either one of them would allow us to kind of keep going. But we'll see. We'll see how powerful Dockside is here. Sometimes he's amazing. Sometimes he's not. And usually, the more competitive lists, he does more work. And we'll see what they got. See how explosive these 3 players are. Speed is kind of what we want. A lot of times we're going first. However, since we're facing down 3 opposing blue decks, there's no problem here in going for a turn 3, turn 4. Well, we got Dark Ritual, Talisman, maybe turn 1 Timna. Oh, nope, turn 1 Crom. Okay. Turn 1 Crom. Kind of like having Rhystic Study on turn 1. We'll see who he attacks. I think a lot of times when I play this deck, I just kind of expect to play Archenemy and just play 3v1 the whole game. However, the other commanders I think are imposing enough that it might not be us all the time. And it looks like he hit the other Timna player, which is good for us. The lower our opponent's life totals are, the easier it will be to finish them off with So one really good start. We're kind of the odd man out without a really good Mox heavy or artifact heavy turn 1. Kenrith. There's a lot of different ways to play Kenrith. You can build it with like the Adnaz shell and just be playing 5 color. You can also just build it with a controlling shell. Looks like we got also a very good start over there with Kenrith. Has some Mox action over there, as well as a Mana Dork. So lots of mana on the field already. I think at this point we're looking for a turn 2 Cyclonic Rift the Crom just to hurt his ability to draw cards in the next turn cycle. The less cards he has, the less interaction he'll have. Ooh, Remora. Remora's pretty good. we can win through Remora or Ristic Study. It's hard, and Underworld Breach is going to be a big part of that plan. Or, or you can just counter it. Perfect. Don't have to deal with it. Whenever you're playing through Remora or Ristic Study, and you have Breach going, the card you're really trying to hit is Pact Negation. You can just keep playing it out of the yard over and over again to defend yourself as they draw cards. This will most likely be a Ogre game again, just because they're going to have the free counter magic, most likely, in the Fierce Guardianship, or I would expect Force Negation out of them as well. Ooh, nothing out of the Timna Crom player, although he did shock, so that could be like a Vampiric Tutor, could be, hmm, Pyroblast, Red Elemental Blast. Ooh, mana is good. We could try to Witchclaw here and just send it out immediately, but I don't think we're in a hurry here. There's going to be some interaction. We're just going to bide our time, get Crom off the battlefield, see if he'll defend Crom, maybe eat another counterspell if we are unsuccessful in getting Crom off the battlefield, and then go for turn 3 Witchclaw, activate. If you're ever playing Witchclaw, the way I usually play it is I usually try to activate it immediately, don't pass priority if it does hit the field. Got Timna here. Now we're most likely going to Cyclonic Rift Crom so that they don't get to draw cards off Timna. But we'll give everybody else a chance to do something. Who knows why he shocked something in, or shocked his Blood Crypt in. Maybe he has something. Maybe he doesn't. If he doesn't, then we're just gonna bounce Crom. Okay, is it red? Maybe Power Blast. Oh, nope, Lightning Bolt. Perfect. That actually gets both of them off the battlefield. Set back that player quite a bit. We'll let the damage go through now because we're not worried about him drawing cards with Timna, and we'll just bounce Crom in the end step. Prevent that card draw. Now, as far as the lands, I am going to get the Volcanic. One thing this deck does really well is generate black and red mana. The blue mana almost always just comes from lands. And for that reason, I typically prioritize getting the blue mana. That's one of the reasons why I don't play cards like Niv Mizzet. I had them in the deck for a while as like another fair card to play just because it can't be countered. However, triple blue was really hard and often just too taxing to cast, especially in the early game. You can't really ritual out triple blue. So I got rid of those and I slimmed it down to mostly just the combo dragons and then the most recent add of Bladewing. Penrith he's getting pretty low on cards. Going to be even lower on cards now by 2-for-1ing him twice with both Mox Diamond and Chrome Mox. So could be a Kenrith here, I would imagine. If he does play Kenrith, it's not really the end of the world. It is a combo card in a lot of ways. Well, that's interesting. It looks like he exiled his the green force that destroys artifacts and enchantments. It's really good for us. In the event we go the breach line and force of vigor, as well as the carpet of flowers. Amazing card in competitive. I'm a fan of the Morphic Pool or the duels that aren't necessarily islands for that reason. But he's certainly going to get mana off of everyone. So there's some incentive, but everyone's playing blue. People are going to have islands. That Carpet of Flowers are just going to be doing work this whole game. He's only got one card left though. There is some incentive for us to go fast now, just because I think his priority will be to get a wheel going so that he can leverage his fast start and draw a whole bunch of cards. We'll see what he goes for. If he even uses the carpet this turn, or he uses the carpet mana. He's getting black. Tutor. Okay. So he has a choice now. Is he going to be proactive or reactive in the sense of maybe getting a counterspell or some sort of lock piece? Magistrate would be really good here because it would lock out the powerful Timnas. Crom's still in hand, but he's still at least a turn away. Now, since he does have 0 cards in hand, I think he'll be the person we give the Wish Claw to, just because I think the worst thing he would get is a wheel effect, at which point, hey, we just draw more cards, no problem. We wouldn't give the talisman to Ashner, but we could maybe give it to Vince. Maybe say he Force of Wills or Force Negations and goes really low. Might give it to Vince as well, just because he has less mana and less ways to leverage the Wish Claw talisman. But we shall see. Nothing from Ashner over there. Looks like we're just Wish Claw talismaning and do we get Dragonstorm or do we get Ogre? Okay, so we drew the Hellkite. I think at this point that means we're gonna get Ogre. And the reason is because we already have a payoff with the Hellkite. Might just end up playing a sort of Delver strategy with getting the Ogre and powering out the Hellkite and hoping that can we can ride that to victory. A lot of times when people play these more streamlined lists, they don't have the greatest creature removal, and a 6/6 red creature is something that most will struggle with to answer. So get the Wishclaw Talisman out there. We'll pass it over to Freezy over there with no cards in hand. Hopefully we'll also get it back. That would be ideal. Sometimes people will hold on to it until they can combo themselves. However, since he doesn't have any cards in hand, I expect him to use it immediately and fingers crossed give it back to us. And Crom are, I think, scary enough as it is that they will, he'll give it back to us. So we got the Ogre, one half of the combo complete. If we can somehow get the Talisman back, we will be set up to go get Dragonstorm and then combo off. See if Crom comes back down. It is important to note that Asuna does have open mana. Who knows what that means? He didn't counter the Wish Claw, which is it's a little suspicious. I always like to counter tutors just because you don't really know what they're going to tutor for, and they could be tutoring for protection. Maybe they already have the combo. So I typically just do my best to, if someone plays Demonic Tutor, I counter it or Wishclaw Talisman, take out the tutor, force them to draw it, force them to find it. I think sometimes people sometimes get greedy by waiting for people to tutor and then countering whatever they get, but I myself have tutored for pack negation on many occasions, and that sometimes just makes it a little too late. Or if they have, say, a resilient thing that they are getting through counter magic, It's just not worth it. But they didn't, and so here we are. See if Timna can't come out, so neither can Crom unless he has something here. He's already burned his Lotus Petal, so it would have to be a Mox or a Mana Crypt or Soul Ring. Does he have it? Something. What do you got over there, Vince? He is going to be putting something out there. No, no, maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe he just tapped wrong. Certainly possible when you're playing 4 or 5 color decks. Maybe he's just deciding that he wants to do it at a later time. Oh, here we go again. Nope. All right, Vince. Maybe he just is realizing he can't play. Oh, okay, here we go. Trader's Grass. I played this card a lot in different decks that I built. If you do have a meta that is drowning in Thassa's Oracle, one of my favorite cards to play. It just gets the monkey off your back. You just go, you take their Thassa's Oracle. They can no longer use that as their win condition. You can also use their Thassa's Oracle as your win condition, and it takes the pressure off of you. Now we do have multiple combo decks, so not all of the pressure, but this is going to allow him to make sure that the tutor that he gets on his turn isn't going to allow him to win. It's interesting that he didn't target us. Maybe they're just not worried about us. We didn't really have the greatest of starts, and so maybe he is prioritizing the other guy because of that, or maybe just because he has Drannith Magistrate in play. That's why he's looking to target him. So yeah, if you ever have anyone in your local meta that has a combo that is just you feel like you're having a lot of trouble stopping, Praetor's Grasp is, I think, the go-to card for searching the opponent's deck. Just because in a weird way it also draws that card and allows you to use their card against them. Interesting thing to note here too is that should Breezy tutor, he'll know exactly what was taken, most likely. I would I would imagine it's going to be Thassa's Oracle here though. Get half the combo himself as well as deny the combo to Breezy. All right, and we'll see what Breezy does. If he gives us the talisman, that would be amazing. I do expect him to use it though. I think it would be weird for him to not use it with 0 cards in hand. Another fun thing about the talisman is that you give it away, so Dockside Extortionist counts it as something for him to create treasures with because you no longer control it, which is kind of hilarious. But all right, we'll see. This could be Kenrith. This could be Tutor for something. We shall see. In white, white, and he's tutoring. White mana. White mana could be a lot of different things. Smothering Tithe is a good card, but it'd be weird, I think, for him to get that based upon the fact that it doesn't really have a whole lot else going on. However, it would make it so that maybe in the future he has a lot of mana to work with Kenrith. White could also mean another hate piece. He did Demonic Tutor for Drannith Magistrate, which means that he could just prioritize getting hate pieces into play, trying to prevent people from winning. If that's the case, then depending upon what the hate piece is, we either care or don't care. We don't care about the Drannith Magistrate. It shuts us off from Rograk, but Archon. Okay, so we actually are going to have to eliminate that. in some capacity. Tutor, still kind of want to tutor for uh, Dragonstorm, but since he did play that, we might still be on the Hellkite plan, tutor up a answer to the Archon, maybe go get Chain of Vapor, have the Archon start doing some jumping jacks and going in and out of play. Looks like these two have decided to battle each other this game, leaving the rest of us out of it. That's kind of nice. We can't, unfortunately, win with Archon in play. The fact that it also makes our lands come into play tap typically will be annoying at best, but it might also mess up a Sooner as well. Yeah, the Archon is so good. So good. It is weird though, like I said, because he still has no cards in hand, so he just has some hate pieces, and I think he's just crossing his fingers that they'll be good enough. If I was in his position, I think I would have gotten something more proactive, like a wheel effect, and just get myself back into the game. It would get rid of the Crom in Vince's hand, and it would get just him refueled and ready to go. But as it stands, we are going to have to get an answer to that. There's that land tap on the Sooner side. He can't play Timna. Good for us, although he still has that open mana. What do we draw? Mystical Tutor. Okay, so that is Dragonstorm. Okay, so this is the plan. We are going to go and get an answer to Archon. Most likely just Chain of Vapor. It's the smoothest answer I think that we have access to. We'll end step Mystical Tutor for Dragonstorm, and we'll see if we can just send it on turn 5. Kind of lean in on the resiliency of Treasonous Ogre versus their counter magic. And at this point, it doesn't really matter who we give it to, but we'll give it back to Breezy. He was kind enough to give it back to us. And I'm not going to play anything. One thing to note is that we do have 2 of our dragons in hand. It's unfortunate. Another thing to consider is which dragon are we going to discard here. I think there's be some temptation to discard the Hellkite and keep the Blade Wing. However, since we have Ogre that's really good at generating red mana, and he's bouncing the Archon, not necessarily for us because it's immediately coming down next turn, so we're going to still have to bounce it. But we're going to keep the Hellkite, and we're just going to discard the Blade Wing because should we need a fallback, the Hellkite will be our fallback. So go ahead and discard Blade Wing. This could be another Crom, potentially. It's now the time for Crom in terms of just casting it from hand. We'll see if that's what he goes with, or maybe he has something better to do. 5 mana, Crom. All right, there he is. Crom, it's interesting that he bounced it. He bounced it so that his land wouldn't come into play tapped, so he could play Crom. But Crom and Archon don't really play nice with each other. Let's see, who does he attack? Probably not us. Okay, so he's going after Breezy. These guys have decided that each other are the biggest threat or the biggest annoyance. Good for us. We'll have the Archon come down. Then we will bounce the Archon and tutor up Dragonstorm, and hopefully that'll be it. Carpet. We don't have to worry about fetching islands anymore. Vince has plenty of islands over there to generate mana for him. Although he's not going to necessarily be able to play both the Archon and Kenrith here, unless he drew another mana source. see. White, white. So he's playing Archon for sure. And I think the question now is if he taps out for Kenrith. If he does, then that's good for us. The more tapped mana that everyone has, the better for us, as we're going to try to pull the trigger here. Another awesome thing is that since we do have Chain of Vapor, we're going to start the chain with Archon, and other things could get bounced. He could bounce Crom for us. Crom's going to draw a card on our turn when we try to go off. It's also important to note that since he is beating down the Crom player, and I would put them on Ad Naz, every life point they don't have hurts them, makes their Ad Nauseam worse. Okay. So, a Sooner, what do you got? It's really going to depend on his turn. If we keep our hand through his turn, if maybe he does something that deters us from going for it. I could have Chain of Vapored the Archon on Vince's turn, however, or on Breezy's turn at the end of it. However, we still want to wait just because it's going to make Asher's land come into play tapped, as well as it's going to uh, interact with Asher's turn, prevent him from comboing. So we're waiting, even though this is going to technically draw the Vince player a card. I'm not too worried about a single card. I would much rather trade that one card for Archon in play throughout Esther's turn. Go and get our Dragonstorm. We are locked, loaded, and ready to go. All right. Start out with exiling Simeon and getting our Ogre out here. This resolves. We will have Dragonstorm for sure, since it is a mana ability. We're also going to, we have the ability to play Dockside as well. We're just going to up our storm count as much as possible. So we're going to play Dockside. We're going to play Breach, even though we don't intend to use it. And we're also going to play Rograk out of the command zone. A lot of times, Rograk is sometimes just for storm count on the storm turn. It's perfectly fine. Get our Underworld Breach out there. This will also give us a little bit of interaction with our Cyclonic Rift and our Chain of Vapor. Can also Mystical Tutor. Oh, excuse me, we can't play Rograk because of the Trance Magistrate. And we can't use Underworld Breach because of the Trance Magistrate. So we're just gonna send it here. And we're going to stop there, try to preserve some treasure tokens, as well as that way we can use the treasure tokens for future spells out of the yard in the event that we decide to kill the Trance Magistrate. Ladies first, get the Queen. Unfortunately, we do have the Hellkite in hand, which means we are not going to be able to do that swing. However, I think combat damage should be enough since we'll have our attack step. Go ahead and get Terror first. Maximize the damage. go ahead and I think we're gonna take a Sooner out first. I don't know what he's holding. At this point, he could maybe counter a spell or two. We're still gonna get Scourge next, and then we'll get the Dragon Lord after that to give him all haste. We'll put Scourge on the stack first. There's some temptation to kill the Dynastic Magistrate, but I think the best way is just to kill that player. So, should have enough. Yeah, we'll. I feel like he would have had something by now. He might just be cleared hot here. I think he's just F6. We'll get our Haste Dragon. And then we will hopefully attack, and that'll be game. Leave Glorybringer in the deck. He's there to kill things like the Archon, however, we're not too worried about it at this time. And so we'll just have these last Scourge triggers target Sooner, take him out. I don't think it really matters at this point, just because I feel like if he had something, he would have played it by now. Just going through the motions at this point. Terror on the stack, and then we will swing. Another interesting thing to note is that both Latlas and Bladewing, they have the ability to pump all of the dragons, which we'll do. I'm pretty sure it's lethal anyway, but who knows? All right. We'll pump it up. Send our ground troops over at Vince. And there it is, turn 5. Not too shabby, not too shabby. Some pretty competitive interactive lists here. It's about 3 and 3. Then a little bit extra for each player. Flyer at Breezy, and then send the other 2 at Vince. And the Ogre also has flavor text of Dethrone. We'll just have some fun here and pump him up one more time. Dragons for the win. Unfortunate the Hellkite. If we did have the Hellkite in play, we actually wouldn't even be able to do combat damage. There's enough damage with the triggers from the Hellkite and the Scourge that everyone dies before you actually get to touch anybody. But there it is. GG's. And we are back. And I hope you all enjoyed the games. And you really see in those games how important the Ogre is to the game plan. This guy right here is one of the ways that you can fight through counter magic, just because so much counter magic is non-creature, as well as how nicely the reanimation package dovetails with the dragon package. Sometimes you just reanimate the dragons and attack, and that can be good enough too, especially when there's enough counter magic that you need to start applying pressure and start attacking on different axes. So, hope you all had fun. I had a blast, and I'll see you in the next one. If there is a deck that you want me to play, these are the current builds that we have. We have a Muxus build, a Wood Elves build, which I think is the best elf deck. We've tried a lot of different elf decks. I think it's the best one I've come up with. Tiny Bones Fun deck. Maverick is definitely one of our better decks. We have a take on Winota. I have a Urza list currently, as well as Roar of the Bridge is our take on Control using Prismatic Bridge. The best thing that we found as far as being able to play Control in a 4-player game. So, let me know. Let me know what you guys would like to see next, and I'll see you next time.